Yes. Hello, everyone. I am Amita, co-founder of Nourish Doc. We offer prevention-based wellness programs in natural and holistic medicine that are backed by research, science, and outcomes. Our programs are offered by our curated network of experts. In our Q&A session today, we are going to talk about how homeopathy can help treat acne safely. To presenting Dr. Angelika Maria Koch, who is going to talk about how homeopathy is helpful. She is Doctor of Natural Medicine. She is a homeopath. She uses classical homeopathy, iridology, herbology, biology, and psychology in her practice for her clients. She is author of award-winning book, Dance of Your Core Healing. She is also a professor at the University of New Mexico. I'm honored to have Dr. Angelika. Welcome.
Very much, Amita Sharma. Thank you very much for your invitation. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So we'll start with Dr. Maria, if you could talk about what is acne and what are the conventional treatments.
Yes. Well, from the allopathic perspective, acne is seen as a disorder that affects the sebaceous follicles and the hair follicles even of the skin. And typically it usually starts around adolescence, of course, when the hormonal changes come in. And it causes quite a lot of embarrassment and next to the enlargement and obstruction of the sebaceous glands by bacteria in the skin. So again, it's a chronic inflammatory disease. We call it comedones, papules, pustule cysts, and there are different types of scars, but either way, it is quite unsightly, and often young people are affected and of course want to seek out for help. Now, the conventional treatment are quite strong treatments, and unfortunately, they do have side effects in terms of the liver, as well as the microbiome of the digestive system. And the liver is the biggest detoxification organ in our body, so we want to make sure that it's working very well. And the usual drugs or the treatments which are prescribed, unfortunately, put a lot of weight on the liver. And also they're quite harsh on the skin, as well with the external applications. So we want to look for more natural solutions which are less harmful, but also effective.
Okay. So, so that brings us to how can homeopathy be beneficial to acne? So that you talked about all the side effects and harsh elements. So maybe how does homeopathy compare? Yes.
Yes. Well, let me just give you an overall understanding about homeopathy. Homeopathy is an individualized medicine, and it means that we want to take in the totality of the person into account. We want to take the, who you are. Are you an extrovert? Are you an introvert? What's happening in your life? Maybe you suffered some grief, or maybe, you just go through a lot of stress. Acne is based and caused often by many, many different incidences. We can have, for example, hormonal changes, through pregnancy, through the teenage years, as well as perimenopause or menopause. It can be caused by clogged pores, which then, we have dead bacteria, dead skin cells happening. It can be from an unhealthy diet, of course, especially if the body cannot break down carbohydrates, excess sugar, as well as protein, or if somebody is gluten sensitive. It can also, of course, psychiatric disorders like depression, anxiety absolutely affect the expression of the skin to a very strong degree, as well as sleep deprivation. All of these causes can affect other organ, as an elimination helper of the skin. So in homeopathy, we look at all of that. And therefore, homeopathy offers many remedies which are targeted for the specific situations. So how does homeopathy...
So can you talk about, yeah, so maybe we should talk about how does it work? Like you mentioned a little bit homeopathy being as a complete therapeutic system. So maybe can you expand it a little bit more and for our viewers who will understand better?
Of course. Homeopathy is based on the law of similars, whereas orthodox medicine is based on the law of contrary. Let me explain this briefly. Let's say, Amita, we meet for a cup of chai outside, and I will tell you, it's really nice to see you, Amita, but, you know, I don't have a good time right now. You know, there's lockdown and all this, what's coming up. And then after 10 minutes, you maybe say, you know, Angelika, I don't have a good time either right now. And so we become, you know, have a nice conversation, and maybe an hour after, you know, we shared our personal experiences, then we depart. But each of us feels a little bit better because we had the chance to talk, to share, and we realize you're not alone in the boat here. And so the same principle happens in homeopathy. Okay. You have your symptom, you have your symptomatology, and I'm looking in nature for the same frequency, either in the plant, animal, or in the mineral kingdom, to match the frequencies. Once this happens, then the remedy in itself will activate the vital force inside your body to sort of gently, you know, heal what needs to be healed. Whereas with the law of contraries, it's based on not a dialogue or creating a rapport, but on a power game. Like you have the antibiotic, you have something which is seemingly more powerful than the symptom, and there should be annihilation of the symptom then. So the principle is based on a very different understanding how to meet the body in the most highest form, because don't forget, we always have an inherent intelligence within our body to heal itself. And homeopathy is addressing this very, very beautifully.
That's actually fascinating. I think a lot of people don't understand how it works, and maybe you know, and you explained the law of similars very beautifully, the way you talked about the chai part. So I think it resonates. It will resonate with a lot of users, you know, what it means. So maybe expanding on the next one, can you talk about a few remedies in homeopathy?
You know, I'm saying it in a more simpler way because when you look in books, all you can see is it's a law of similars, and the basic law of homeopathy is based on likes cures likes, meaning that, you know, when you give a remedy to a healthy person and the person then proves the remedies, well, this kind of information is then applicable for a person who is ill and shows the same symptomatology. But often this sentence or this usual explanation is very difficult to understand. So today I just want to give you some kind of remedies, basic remedies, which also tell you a little bit about where I'm coming from and how this really works. Again, homeopathy is very helpful for skin ailments, especially for acne, because it's really focusing on the detoxification of the colon as well as the congested liver and the totality of the symptoms. So, you know, apart from supplements, I also want to just point out, you know, probiotics would be helpful here in terms of digestive support, as well maybe an Ayurvedic herb called Google. It would be, or holy basil would be wonderful here. But when it comes to homeopathic remedies, I want to share with you just a few remedies which you are able to get hold of or purchase in your health food store. We have about 4,000 remedies, so I'm not going to make it too complicated. I also want to just share with you the ones which you have access to and you can apply. So the first remedy I would like to start with is called HEPA Self. HEPA Self is a very effective remedy for acne. And the nature of it, it's very pustular in nature. Especially you see it in acne in youth, for our teenagers. And it distinguishes itself from all the other ones because when you touch the pimples or the comedon, it's very painful. It's almost unbearable to touch. And the person even can't touch one's skin. There may be the pus or the blood coming out of the pustule, and needless to say, the person who needs HEPA Self is very touchy also personality-wise, very oversensitive. And in general, they have quite a tremendous fear of being alone, or, they're even concerned about the health of their relatives, but he feels that people upon them or depends, or who he depends on for support, treat him very badly, actually, humiliate him, and therefore he becomes violent, very touchy, very irritable, very easy, and the skin becomes irritable. So it's a very sort of common teenager aggravation. And if you, I don't know if you're interested in, but when we talk about the metaphysical sort of meaning about acne, for example, Jacques Martel has written beautiful explanation about it, but he says actually facial acne is related to individuality and also to my inner harmony and to what is happening on the outside. My face is the part of me that others see first of myself, and that enables me to be accepted or rejected, right? And that happens, of course, with teenagers a lot. So acne can surface when I'm emotionally or mentally in conflict with my own reality, especially during adolescence when my personality is not yet fully formed. So there's a conflict, right, between the self-expression and to my inner nature. So teenagers often experience a lot of irritation, criticism, resentment, rejection, even fear, shame, insecurity, aimed at myself or others, and that's where the acne comes in very strongly. So HEPA Self is a good remedy when the teenager is very inflamed, right, in personality as well. Can be even to the point that, they want to create a revolution, or they want to set things on fires, or, really strong, right? That would be a good remedy because it would bring down the inflamed part of the skin eruptions. Another remedy which you can get at the health food store under the make from the biochemic homeopathic tissue or cell salts. It's a different brand of homeopathic remedies. The remedy is called calc sulfuricum or calcarea sulfuricum 6X. It's a wonderful remedy, a tonic. Again, if the pimples are suppurating, there's pus involved, but often the person feels very embarrassed. What do people think about me? Can I go to school if I have a pimple on my nose? They become very, very aware about their vanity and how they look. So calc sulf is known to be a strong blood purifier, for example, because it's of a potent detoxification effect on the liver. So whatever you do, calc sulf is a wonderful remedy as a general tonic. You can take it on a daily basis for adults, 4 tablets morning and evening, I would say even for teenagers, and try it out for a month. It doesn't have any side effect. It will just help to detoxify your blood and your liver. Now, having said that, we talk about personality situations. So if you have somebody, a teenager, who is extremely sensitive and almost embarrassed about one's sexuality, right? And maybe feels like that, family member is pouncing on them every time they're alone in their room, or, teenagers have all sorts of feelings and thoughts. Then the acne will change often on the face with indentation and often has a bluish color, very bluish scars, strong scars, right? And that remedy called Kali Bromatum 30 would be wonderful, because it really will help their personality to, deal with this tremendous guilt about their own sexual desires, the fears, anything that a family member maybe, as I said, can pounce on them. There's danger coming from the family whose support he still needs at the time, of course. There can be tremendous anxiety. These people are always a little loners. Don't get me wrong, they don't want to socialize. But the acne is very strong, often along the chin here, and very deep, and scars, and very bluish, purplish. Kali Brahm is a wonderful remedy for that. And it not only will help with the skin eruption, but align the entire personality, right? And that's the beauty of homeopathy, that it not just deals with the symptomatology, but with the whole person. Another remedy, if somebody is truly a loner, have acne on the cheeks, oily cheeks often, and they suffer from deep grief. And right now, to be honest, during this strong health crisis, what we experience, people go through grief. They cannot see their relatives, they cannot see their grandparents, the children, right? It's like a person who is more an introvert, keeps their feelings inside, but they're not the people who throw the jokes in the party. They are on the periphery. They're better to one-to-one conversations, and they're very dependent on their loved ones. And if they don't see that, or if there's a loss, can be a loss of a pet as well, that can aggravate the acne. And a remedy called Naturopathic 30, which you also get in your health food store, you just need to know why you want to use them, would be very helpful here. I had great results with Naturopathic. Just a patient recently, yesterday, I talked to her on Skype. She was located in Switzerland, and strong acne on her cheeks. But she had problems with, she's an adult, but she has problems with opening up and was avoiding relationships for a long, long time, for years. So I gave her the remedy. The acne definitely reduced. We are still in process of the treatment. But suddenly she announced that she wants to actually propose or really come out to a gentleman she feels like is a dear friend to her for over 2 years. And she never dared to do so. See, there is a direct correlation here. And then I mentioned that, lastly, that hormonal changes, particularly in women, are huge factors in terms of our skin. And here I want to mention 2 remedies. One is called Pulsatilla. It's a wonderful remedy for teenagers who are a bit overweight maybe, or have a delayed period or menses. They may be 16 years old and still the period hasn't kicked in. That is hormonal, sort of issue here. It can be also, these teenagers are very sensitive to consumption of fatty foods or rich food. Immediately the skin starts to react here. Personality-wise, they're very sensitive. They cry on any little thing. They're also very needy. They want contact. When they have the period, they want the boyfriend to bring them a cup of tea. They cannot be by themselves, right? You see that also in 5 years, little girls who go to school, they want to have their mommy stay with them. They're very whiny. They're clingy, right? Again, Pulsatilla would be a wonderful remedy here to instigate, to stimulate the hormonal imbalance in terms of in a realignment, so the period comes earlier and not delayed, and also the entire mental and emotional personality is more stabilized. When we talk about women in perimenopause as well as menopause, skin or acne can be quite unsightly because you don't expect to have it happen at that age. And yet it could be part of hormonal changes, could be part of these, often years of hormonal imbalances. Mm-hmm. And we see that often the remedy here is sepia. Sepia, it's made from the cuttlefish, would be wonderful here. Not only it will subside the hot flushes or the insomnia, but also the skin eruptions. And sepia is a very modern day sort of remedy. You have the sort of high-powered, modern working mom who mm-hmm. loves her job, but also has 3 kids at home. And how can she juggle this all, right? And therefore her hormonal issues are highly aggravated. Sexuality, her libido is affected, and often it comes out in the form of acne. So I would say, as you can see now, the external applications as mm-hmm. well as the harsh given drug intervention mm-hmm. is not treating the actual cause here. It's like a Band-Aid. It helps maybe to dry out, the sort of production of the sebaceous glands, or reduces the pus formation. A lot of teenagers are put on a birth control pill in order to control the acne. Not a good idea, because once mm-hmm. you stop it, and eventually you will have to stop it, all hell breaks out, and a suppressed volcano is now coming up to the surface. And then the woman at that stage, the childbearing woman, has to deal with hormonal issues, but also with her erupting skin eruptions again. So I think mm-hmm. it's better to find a natural solution. In terms of external applications, for example, I would rather choose very simple, very affordable apple cider vinegar. Nice combination here. You get that in your health food store. It balances the pH of the skin. So I would choose a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar with a glass of lukewarm water first thing in the morning. Drink that for maybe 3-4 months. Also want to use apple cider vinegar as a sort of cleanser, external cleanser. You can mix it up with some coconut oil, because if your skin is too sensitive, maybe a little bit harsh. You also can make wonderful face masks out of yogurt and honey, or cinnamon mm-hmm. and yogurt, and maybe put a little bit tea tree oil in. So there are many natural, less harmful applications where you can cleanse and tone your skin. So it sort of provides the body a sort of welcoming, healing invitation, rather than just these harsh treatments. And I think that's what I want to say. And then the last remedy, if nothing helps, right, which is sort of the traditional remedy, would be sulfur. Sulfur is a great remedy. Sulfur 30, when you have the lazy, teenager who sits all day in his room and doesn't want to do anything and is a very philosopher mind, like an Einstein, but really doesn't want to clean up his room. And
most of the teenagers are like that.
Most of the teenagers are like that, right? And they feel not appreciated. That's a big deal with sulfur. They really want to be appreciated, but don't do anything towards to be appreciated. Sulfur is a great remedy. Sulfur 30, it's an over-the-counter potency, and you give that daily. You maybe give it for 10 days, then have 10 days break, then start again for 10 days. Witness Koch sulf as the biochemic homeopathic cell and tissue salt as a tonic on a daily basis. I think you can do a lot without going into really damaging treatments, and they're more effective and lasting as well, and are more affordable.
Well, I think this is very informational. I mean, I didn't know anything about the way you explained it. It's so easy to understand and resonate. And I hope it resonates with the viewers. There are different reasons why the acne would erupt for different age groups as well. So these sessions are very short. So next slide, we just wanted to talk about. I think you already talked about the age distribution, but maybe you can just talk a little bit about research or any clinical trials with the homeopathy.
There's a lot of research on the market and for you to access, but as you can see already, the highest number is really between the ages of 15 to 20, 25 to 30. This is the big hormonal changes ages, right? Where women as well as men are mostly affected. Then it calms down a little bit between 35 to 40, because often pregnancy in itself will reset the hormonal system, or it can aggravate it either way. And then it further goes down, beyond 40, because by then, the hormonal system is not so much the issue. Having said that, coming up to 50, then it rises up again when we have the total change in menopause. But most sort of the population is more affected between when the teenage years start, puberty sets in, hormonal changes, and I would say between 15 to 30 years is the highest population rate.
Mm-hmm. No, I think, and that's what you explained earlier, how it happens in different populations because of different reasons. So I think that's pretty much summarizes our Q&A today. Is there anything else you would like to add to your talk? These are supposed to be very short, punchy. We want to tell the viewers on a simple topic. We bring in an expert like you, and that's what we do. Is there anything else you would like to add? Or
I would like to add, just don't get frustrated, or don't feel embarrassed, or don't feel you have to hide, right? Particularly the teenagers. It is unfortunately a natural progression of becoming older, but you don't have to suffer. And there are many other solutions out there for you, natural and effective solutions, which work. And you have access to it. Don't feel like you have to be a victim of this whole situation, because that's what usually it ends up to. That it stops you from having relationships or even going out. And as I said, we are here to help.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for coming. And it's always a pleasure to talk to you.